So if you're looking to get started travel hacking in 2023, odds are you're looking at the Amex Platinum or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Which card is right for you? Which card is better? That's what we're hoping to answer in this video. So stay tuned to the very end as I'm gonna help you guys with all different factors on which card is right for you. So to accurately compare these cards, we're gonna look at it on 4 dimensions. The first is gonna be the perks and rewards that come with the card out of the box. This is all your annual credits, as well as things that are intangible, such as lounge access. The second is going to be your welcome bonus and how easy it is to attain that welcome bonus within the given time frame for the card. Third is going to be how much those points are worth and how we can go about earning them once we have the card in our wallet. And lastly, we're going to talk about the app interface as well as the website when we're using the card, making payments, transferring points. I think this is more of an intangible one. A lot of it is personal preference. However, ease and convenience of use is super important, and we'll get to that later, but I definitely think there is a clear winner in that regard, and having something that is easy to understand and use, especially for someone just starting out, that is huge. So we'll talk about all these 4 factors. So with that being said, let's get into it. So let's jump right in talking about the different perks and rewards that come with each individual card. We'll start first with the American Express Platinum card, which has a long list of perks that I'll just rattle off here. I will go into more depth on the ones that need a little bit more explaining, and I won't really talk about the ones that are pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to be reading off my computer here because, like I said, it is a pretty long list. So for starters, you get $100 of global entry or TSA pre-check credit. So basically what that means is every 5 years, you can be re-signing up for this. You can only choose one or the other. So if you only have TSA pre-check, you can use it to get global entry and vice versa. You can't get both and have the credit apply to both. You're getting $155 annually towards Walmart Plus. Walmart Plus is a subscription-based service that gets you different perks at Walmart. I signed up for the service just because I wanted to earn more points on my account, even though I don't really use the service. Might as well get it because it's free. That's how I looked at it. You're gonna get $240 for your entertainment credit. Now, entertainment credit is probably one of the coolest perks that come with the Amex Platinum because it can be applied to a lot of different services that are in the entertainment realm, such as Disney Plus, Hulu, or Audible. Personally, I use it for Audible every month, which is a $16 charge that automatically gets removed from my account. So I get my free audiobook and I'm not having to pay for it, and I'm earning points at the same time. So it's a win-win. However, I think the biggest weakness with this perk is that dollar amount every month is kind of hard to hit perfectly. For me, $16 a month, yes, that is under the $20 limit, but that means I'm leaving $4 on the table every single month or $48 every single year in unused credit that I can't really fit with anything else without going over that limit. You get $200 of annual Uber credit. Is really useful if you're traveling, getting to and from the bar, if you had a bit too much to drink, getting to the airport, whatever you use it for. It's just nice to have, free Uber rides every single month. Granted, it's probably going to be about 1 Uber ride, honestly, but having 1 free Uber ride is better than having no free Uber rides. Keep in mind that this is only available in the United States. I'm here in Taiwan right now, and those Uber credits do not apply outside of the United States. So keep that in mind, and when you're trying to factor in your traveling, you can't be relying on the Uber credit outside of the US, which makes sense because it is a US based credit based on the US dollar value. Obviously, if I had that same credit here in Taiwan, I could be going everywhere because I can get across Taipei for about $6 US, whereas in New York, that same getting across the city, or Manhattan more specifically, would probably cost me around $70 US, which that's probably not even at a time of peak traffic. You get $300 of Equinox credit. Equinox is a high-end gym, which membership-wise every single month costs about $300. So it's more of a discount than it is getting you a free membership at Equinox. If you work out at Equinox, it's a great perk for you, but I know a lot of people don't, or they don't have an Equinox near them, so that's not really something that's valuable to them. For me, I don't work out there, so it doesn't really factor into my decision-making process at all. $300 SoulCycle credit. Again, SoulCycle is a product that has an at-home, cycling machine. I don't purchase from them, so again, does not factor into my decision-making process. If you're looking to get one though, there you go. You get a $179 Clear credit. Now, Clear is sort of similar to TSA pre-check. It allows you to get through the airport fairly quickly with, different touchless biometric scanners because you plug in all your information beforehand on the app. It's great for areas that have Clear, such as New York or my personal airport of Cleveland that have Clear, but if you don't have access to Clear, well, it's kind of just a mute point. I would say if you get the card, go ahead and sign up for Clear anyways, because again, it's just a benefit that you have access to and you're not having to pay for. So it's sort of like, you know, there's no real drawback to not signing up for it, if that makes any sense. You get a $100 Saks Fifth credit. The thing about this one is that it's split into 6-month chunks. So every 6 months you get $50 of credit. So if you don't use it in that first 6 months, it will not roll over into the last 6 months. So keep that in mind whenever you're trying to utilize this credit. Saks Fifth is pretty expensive. I remember when I went there trying to use the credit intentionally, the cheapest thing I found was a pair of socks and it came in at $42. And I said, you know, $42 for a pair of socks really isn't worth it, even if it would be free. So I just walked out of the store and empty-handed. So, you know, if you do shop at Saks Fifth, great. If you don't worry. I don't use it either. The two biggest ones that you'll see advertised when you're looking at the card are the airline credit and the hotel credit. The reason I save these for last is because these require a little bit of explaining because they have some caveats that you need to understand whenever you're about to use them. Let's talk first about the airline credit. The airline credit is $200 annually applied to one specific airline that you can choose, and you can only change in January. So if you choose, let's say Delta, and you want to change to a different airline later in the year, too bad, you can only change it once per year in January. Second, this annual credit only applies to incidental fees. What does that mean? Well, it means things like checked bags, drinks on the plane, food on the plane, taxes and fees on tickets, but not tickets themselves. I figured that out the hard way when I found a cheap flight for about $70. And, you know, I said, oh, I got the credit, buy it on the Amex Platinum, get the 5x points, but I'm gonna get it for free because of the credit, right? So I figured it out the hard way so you guys don't have to. It does not apply to tickets themselves. You gotta keep that in mind whenever you're looking at trying to utilize this. Another workaround I found online is to use the card to buy gift cards for your target airline and then use those gift cards to pay for the flight. I'm pretty sure Amex has caught on to this because that strategy did not work for me, so I had to come out of pocket and pay for that. Again, I learned that the hard way so you guys don't have to. One final thing to note is that if you book a ticket through one airline, but you actually end up flying on another airline, let's say it's a partner airline, that partner airline, you're still liable to come out of pocket for incidental fees for them. Let me give you a quick example for when I was flying to Thailand. So I booked my ticket through Delta and I ended up flying on Korean Airlines. Korean Airlines is a partner with Delta, so they were the ones actually operating the plane. Well, when it came to my checked bags, the ones who charged me was Korean Airlines. Since I booked the ticket through Delta, I tried to dispute the charge saying, hey, can my credit apply? Because the ticket was originally through Delta. No, because Korean Airlines was operating the plane, Korean Airlines is the one who charged the card. So I was kind of just left twiddling my thumbs without a whole lot that I could do to dispute it. So again, keep that in mind whenever you're looking to utilize this travel credit. With that being said, let's talk about the hotel credit. Now, the hotel credit is a bit easier to utilize, but you can only use it towards Fine Resorts and Hotel Plus, which is an exclusive chain of Amex hotels that gives you different perks and rewards when you stay there under that system. Also, you're gonna be getting Marriott and Hilton Plus. So most of these hotels, which are under those hotel brands, will actually get you upgraded rooms and experiences when you stay with them. The thing I wanna mention though is that the Fine Resorts and Hotel Plus are typically very expensive on a per night basis. So that $200 oftentimes is just gonna turn into a discount rather than a free room. However, if you're staying outside the United States in a place like Thailand, you can find a room that is much cheaper that is still in the Fine Resorts and Hotel Plus and get that free room anyway. Then once you utilize your gold status at either Marriott or Hilton, you can get that room upgraded for an even more valuable experience utilizing that credit. That's exactly what I did when I stayed at the Waldorf Astoria. I was able to get into a suite and I only ended up paying $200 for it. In fact, I didn't really pay for it, the credit did. So there you go. So with that all being said, that is the monetary perks and rewards that we can actually put a dollar amount on for the Amex Platinum. If you were to utilize every single perk that I just talked about, you would get a value of $940 every single year, and you'd be paying $695 for the annual fee. So you'd be profiting $245 in more perks than you do for the annual fee. However, like I said, those are the only perks that you can put a dollar amount on. Let's talk about the ones that can vary based on how much you actually utilize. So I mentioned a little bit before that you can get access to the Marriott and Hilton Gold member status. The reason that I say this is extremely valuable is because you can get room upgrades, you can get credit toward the hotel, You can get extra points added to your account, which you can use for later stays. It's a great perk to have. So let's talk about that a little bit. If you stay at a room, say I booked at the Waldorf Astoria, right? I paid for the cheapest room I could find, under $200. Then I was upgraded to the suite because I was a gold member and I was given $100 credit towards a hotel. Suddenly I had increased my value by about $300 per night if I were to book that out of pocket. And I didn't have to pay for that because I was a gold member. So you can quickly see that I got that much value in one single night. So if you were to travel multiple nights, you can be getting insane value out of your points because your status is going to be carrying you so much further than you would have otherwise. And this is just a complimentary perk of having the card. Typically, you'd have to stay around 30 nights at one of these hotels, which can be an insane amount of money just to attain that status, but having the card automatically grants you that status. Another one is going to be your rental cards. That's Avis, Hertz, and National Rental Car. You're gonna get upgraded to that Emerald status, that Gold status, Preferred status, whatever rental car status there is. I've never rented a car, but the process is very similar to having Gold status at a hotel, right? You can pay for the cheapest car that they offer, but because you have that elevated status, they'll upgrade you to a better car and give you more perks and potential discounts towards that. So it's a great thing to have if you are looking to, get a hotel, rent a car, etc. And finally, lounge access. Whenever you're traveling, lounge access is so clutch because at the airport, food and drinks, the prices are notoriously high because they know you can't leave, so they're going to jack up the price and force you to pay because you're hungry, you're thirsty, whatever it might be. The Amex Platinum, you're going to get access to the Amex Centurion Lounge as well as the Delta Sky Club and any single lounge that is within the Priority Pass network, which is a pretty broad network that includes airlines like Lufthansa or Air France, although Priority Pass is not guaranteed because what they often do is they close it down to Priority Pass members and open it up just to their exclusive airline holder. I figured that out the hard way when I tried to get into the Air France lounge and the Lufthansa lounge. I was denied at New York, but I was accepted at Washington Dulles. So, things like that, it's kind of annoying, but again, you don't have to come out of pocket to pay for that. If you were to access a Priority Pass lounge, the average price that I was seeing at the airport was around $50. So if you think about it that way, you're saving about $50 every single time you go to the airport. Or if you think about it from the food and drink perspective, you're saving that much money on food and drinks every single time that you go to the airport because you don't have to pay for it because you're at the lounge. Now, what I would say that's really important to look at is your home airport that you most fly out of often, because if your airport does not have a Delta Sky Club or a Centurion Lounge or a lounge with Priority Pass lounges, then this one might not be super valuable for you. For me, I often fly out of LaGuardia, which has a Centurion Lounge, so it's not a big point for me. Or if I fly out of JFK, there's plenty of options on the Priority Pass lounge, so I'm pretty much covered on both sides. But if you come out of a smaller regional airport, then this might be harder to find. So that is all the perks and rewards for the Amex Platinum. Extremely long list. Let's hop over into the much more simple to understand Chase Sapphire Reserve. So the Chase Sapphire Reserve has an annual fee of $550. Some of the perks include Dash Pass, which is going to come out to $120 every single year, and Instacart, which comes out to $15 a month or $180 every single year, for a total of $300 in value, again, if you utilize the service. The second perk you get is a $300 travel credit. Now, the travel credit is awesome because it is very, very, very flexible when you compare it to the Amex Platinum. There's no real restrictions on it. In fact, anything you can remotely think of that relates to travel, this card probably covers it. When I was paying for subways in New York City, it was covering that. And when you pay for flights, when you pay for hotels, when you pay for, boats, whether you pay for Ubers, what doesn't matter, anything that's remotely related to travel in that sort of niche, you're going to be getting covered for it. So what I recommend when you're using that credit is look for ways to get maximum value out of it. I didn't realize that the subway was going to be taking away from my credit, when in reality, what I should have done is booked a hotel with one of the hotels I have status at and then get upgraded to get more value out of that credit. I didn't realize that until it was too late, so I want to make sure you guys know that before you're going into it. And that's about it. That's really the list of monetary perks that you get with the card. That comes out to a value of $600, so you're be getting about $50 of extra value. You also get Lyft Pink, although it's a bit dodgy on that. I'm grandfathered in. I'm not sure if it's still offered on the card today. With this card, you also get a complimentary credit for global entry, which again is $100 in value. So for the intangibles on this card, you are going to be getting lounge access, but the lounges are limited to those Priority Pass lounges. You don't have access to the Centurion Lounge or the Amex Sky Club. Now for the intangibles, the Sapphire card is going to be getting you access to those priority pass lounges. So Chase, unlike Amex, does not have a fully fleshed out lounge system. They recently opened up their first one in Hong Kong, and they're planning to roll out 6 more in 2023 here in the United States. So this could be definitely a big decision factor as you're looking, long term for next calendar year for 2023, as Chase is going to be starting to build out more and more of their own lounges aside from the priority pass lounges that the card gets you automatically. So keep that in mind moving forward, as you're going to be getting more and more value because there's going to be more lounges that you can access exclusively with this card and not the Amex Platinum. So now let's talk about the welcome bonuses for each card. The American Express Platinum card, as of the time of filming this video, November 2022, is offering 125,000 points when you spend $6,000 in the first 6 months, or $1,000 every single month. At the time of filming this video, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is offering 80,000 points when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months, or roughly $1,300 every single month. Now, the value of a welcome bonus is kind of hard to compare, but based on what the pointsguy.com says of each of these points being worth 2 cents each, that means the Amex Platinum offer is worth $2,500 worth of travel, and Chase's offer is worth $1,600 worth of travel. Again, this is best case scenario, getting really good value when you transfer it to different partners, but that is just best case scenario. Now, this doesn't indicate that one is strictly better than the other. However, I will advise that when you are looking to apply for these cards, make sure you shop around for the best welcome bonus possible. I remember when I got the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I only got 50,000 points on it, so I missed out on a potential 30,000 points if I were to wait a little bit longer or would have found a referral link. Likewise, for the Amex Platinum, I've seen offers go all the way up to 150,000. When I got it, I only got 100,000. But at the same time, when I got the Amex Gold card, I was able to get 90,000 points on my welcome bonus. Again, because I found different referral links and I found the best one out there instead of the base offer of around 50,000 points. So make sure you shop around to get the best welcome bonus possible. Now that we talked about welcome bonuses, we're on to the topic of points. First, we'll talk about the Chase Sapphire Reserve in terms of how you can earn points on the cards and how you can go about transferring those points to the different airline and hotel partners that the card has. The Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to get you 5x on flights that you book directly through Chase or the airline directly. You get 10x on Chase dining. Now, I thought this was 10x on dining, but not really. The 10x towards Chase dining is for Chase exclusive restaurants that are through the Chase program that you have to book for and prepay in advance. Great way to earn a lot of points if you're planning out a dinner with your significant other or your family, but it's a lot harder to get general use out of because, again, you have to book in advance, prepay in advance. You're not really getting that flexibility to order what you want when you're actually at the restaurant. You get 3x points back on general food. This is anything outside of, that prepaid restaurant experience I just talked about. And then you get 3x points on any other general related travel expenses. This can be things like the subway, your Uber charges, etc. I like to use this once I've, book my flights and stuff. I like to use this to get those other charges, make sure I'm earning the most amount of points possible. And 1x points on everything else that does not fit into those pre-mentioned categories. Now, when it comes to actually using those points, Chase has a nice list of transfer partners. They have 10 airlines and 3 different hotels that you can transfer them to. I'm just gonna run down the list right now so you guys can get a sense of which airlines you can transfer to and which hotels you can transfer to as well. So for airlines, we have Air Canada, Air France, British Airways, Emirates, Iberia, JetBlue, Singapore Airlines, Southwest, United, and Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. The thing I want to mention here is Southwest and United, which are not available for the Amex Platinum, and give you some great flexibility whenever you're doing domestic flights here in the United States for some cheap, awesome, reward redemptions here to fly in the US. When it comes to hotels, you have access to IHG, Marriott, and World of Hyatt. The only one that overlaps with Amex in this case is Marriott Bonvoy. IHG and World of Hyatt are exclusive to Chase. So if you're thinking about trying to stay at these hotels, this card might be the better one for you. Now for the Amex Platinum, you're going to be earning 5x back on flights or 5x back on hotels that you book directly through Amex or their own website. You don't want to be doing it through a third party like booking.com because you won't be getting the 5x points that way. When it comes to transfer partners, you're going to be having access to Aer Lingus, Air Mexico, Air Canada, ANA, Avanca, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Delta, Emirates, Etihad, Flying Blue, Hawaiian, Iberia, JetBlue, Qantas, Singapore, and Virgin Atlantic. That is a pretty extensive list, and that is just for the airlines. 2 I want to mention here are going to be ANA and Air Mexico. ANA is great if you're trying to get to Japan, and Air Mexico is great if you're trying to go to South America, or you're trying to do a around the world itinerary, as they offer a really awesome around the world itinerary pass for pretty decently priced options on points. So this can be a great option if you're considering doing, flights to Asia or flights around the world through Air Mexico. These are just some options I want to highlight because they are not available through the Chase Sapphire Reserve. When it comes to hotels, with the Amex, you have access to Marriott Bonvoy and Hilton, which again, if you remember, are getting gold status with these cards. So if you get points plus gold status, you can really make that go quite a long way. And the third option is Choice Privileges Hotels. One final thing I want to mention about the Chase Sapphire Reserve is that you can be using those points towards Airbnb with a 50% bonus. Granted, I don't think this is the best possible use case for it, but if you were to find cheap Airbnbs, you could potentially be getting a lot of value out of it when you're traveling outside the United States in particular, in my opinion. So the last thing we're going to look at is the app and website interface. Again, this is very important if you're utilizing the card on a long-term basis. For the Amex, I think the interface is nice because you get a look at all your cards all in one place. It's very easy to switch between cards, look at how much you owe on each card, and it's very easy to make payments directly through the app. However, I say when you're trying to use the membership portal, whenever you're trying to use your points, redeem points, transfer points, that is very tedious to do. Oftentimes when you're looking at the Amex app, it actually takes you out of the app and puts you onto the Amex website. Not that that's a huge issue, but I feel like you should be able to do everything within the app natively. On the computer, it's not a whole lot better either. I don't know if I'm just dumb, but when I'm trying to transfer the points, I struggle to find the actual tab to do that through the Amex website. The Amex website has a lot of information, but a lot of the information is not super relevant when you're trying to use those points. When I'm trying to transfer my points, what I often do is I go onto a new tab and literally look up Amex transfer points, go to that exclusive tab, sign back in, and transfer the points. Again, I could just be dumb, but that's the fastest way I found to do it. Again, it's not the most efficient way I do it. I know that for a fact, but the fact that it's not easily accessible to someone who's on this website all the time is kind of telling that, it's not the most intuitive interface possible. Another thing I want to mention is that when you're trying to work towards that $6,000 spending cap to hit the welcome bonus, Amex does not help you out at all. In fact, I've had a lot of my friends ask me, hey, how do I know how close I am to the Amex Platinum welcome bonus? And a lot of times I just have to tell them, hey, look at your previous statements, open up Excel and do some math and figure out how close you are that way. There are a few apps that I know of like Max Rewards, which can help you track this, but using third-party websites to track something is never ideal because it's not going to get all the data and you're going to be still inaccurate. A lot of times the best way to do it is just literally adding up your statements and tracking it that way. Not ideal, but it works. Chase, on the other hand, is far more user-friendly. When it comes to tracking your welcome bonus, they have a nice little spinner that you can look at and see exactly your progress toward the welcome bonus. They even tell you, hey, you need to spend this much more in order to hit your welcome bonus, and once you do, they notify you. Amex, on the other hand, I didn't realize how close I was to hitting it, and then all of a sudden I woke up one day and boom, I had 100,000 points in my account, which is cool, but I didn't really know that was coming, so it was a nice surprise, but kind of dodgy because I didn't know how much longer I had left. I didn't really know how much more I needed to spend. But Chase is great because they say, hey, you applied for the card on this date and your closing date for the welcome bonus window is this date. So you know exactly how much time you have left, how much you need to spend, and how you need to go about strategizing in order to hit it. Very helpful in that regard. Also, the app is very nice because, again, you can do everything pretty much natively in the app, going to the Ultimate Rewards portal, booking things, and you're not going to be taken out of the experience and having to log back in onto the website outside of it. Also, when it comes to looking at your different cards and that sort of nature on Chase, the Ultimate Rewards portal is a separate tab from the Chase banking, which I think is really nice because it creates its own atmosphere outside of just looking at your cards. Amex just kind of throws everything together, so it's a little bit, jumbled to look at. And then when it comes to transferring those points, again, it's really easy to find that. You can transfer points between different Chase cards. We'll make videos on that in the future, or you can transfer them to the airline, all right there through the Ultimate Rewards portal. I'm not scrambling to look around online and figure out how exactly to go about doing that. Again, this could be user error, but I think personally just Chase has a couple more little nice quality of life features that I wish Amex implemented so that I'm not feeling the pain that I feel whenever I'm using the app and website. So it's a new day, new shirt, and we're gonna wrap up the video by giving the final verdict on which card is better. Honestly, I don't think it's a fair matchup. The Amex Platinum has a significantly higher annual fee and as a result has significantly more perks and rewards rolled into it. If that makes sense. You basically get what you paid for. I would say that if you travel considerable amount, the Amex Platinum is definitely worth it for you, simply for the lounge access as well as the gold status at different hotel chains. You get flexibility between Marriott as well as Hilton. You also get the travel credit for the Fine Resorts Hotel Plus and the airline credit to travel with and cover your checked bags and those kind of incidental fees that, pop up every single time we travel. On the other hand, I think the Chase Sapphire Reserve is for those who like to travel but don't travel a considerable amount. That $300 travel credit can go quite a long ways if you are strategic about using it, and some of the day-to-day perks like 3x on food as well as getting bonus points back on Lyft and some other perks like that can be insanely valuable. I would say if you're in the market for a new credit card but you don't travel a ton, then I wouldn't even consider either of these cards. I would instead look at something like the Amex Gold, as that is a more daily driver card. In fact, a lot of times online you read about the Amex Platinum. I don't even really use the Amex Platinum for day-to-day purchases outside of the airport or booking a hotel. So that's really my verdict on the card. It's not insanely useful if you do not travel a lot. To help make this decision easier for you guys, I will leave my referral links down below so you guys get some more points on the front end for that sign up bonus. I will also leave that spreadsheet down below so you can look at all the numbers in one place and easily make a decision on that value within the first year to make a decision if the card is right for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below what card you think I should look at next. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for future videos on the topic of travel hacking, credit cards, credit points, and miles, and anything in that niche. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.